do have a quorum. We are going to hold off on the group photo until we've got everybody in attendance. First order of business, do we have any public comments? Okay. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes from September 28th, October 12th, and with other special meeting items as well? Because we were promoted that day.
Motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes.
Right.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. I do have a correspondence from Kate that I would like to read, and this is from Ian Grunberg, sorry. And this is regarding May. And we just wanted to say, please accept our congratulations for your 10+ years of service on the Brooklyn Board of Education. You have shown great dedication and commitment to education in your local community. Kate awards a pin to those who have served on boards of education for at least 10 years. And I've got your pin for you. And please wear this pin so that you are recognized for your accomplishment. Again, we congratulate you and look forward to a continued relationship with you. And thank you for your service to the children of this. 10 years, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to refrain from painting because
That's fine.
Although I think Diane is a pinner for graduation flowers. So yeah, I try not to do that. But
If I may, at the Cape Caps convention, there's a very large program, and all of the people who are listed in it will have 10+ years experience, and your name will be in it this year. So we just bring you a copy. I know you can't take it, but they wanted to make sure you.
All right, and so we are going to move to our educational presentations. We've got our school improvement plans.
And I will, I'm going to ask Mr. Yanko to come to the table. Mr. Yanko. To the table. And I will tell you that Mrs. Michaud is not well, and we don't want her near us.
Oh, okay. We're sorry to hear
So we are very
but
sorry to
thank
hear
you
it.
that she's keeping her lovely stuff to herself.
And you can see there are 2 school improvement plans. I had asked just for the goals, and Mr. Yanko has certainly done that, and they're very specific. He will share some of that with you or answer questions because you do have it. And you can see that Mrs. Michaud also included some of the strategies that she is using towards that. So these will improve with time and include those strategies, and the district one will look very much like that, including this, but not as detailed. It'll look across district data eventually. So, Mr. Yanko, would you like to share?
Sure. So, for the first goal, we are already implementing certain actions. One of them being the flex intervention blocks that we use during the regular day. We also measure progress using STAR, the Renaissance STAR assessment. So those that have already done most. Half of our math classes have already done 2 sets of assessments, all of them 1. At that point, we are starting to see the SPGs that we're measuring. Student growth percent. We've also started an after-school enrichment program, and that began last week. Kids are pretty enthusiastic about attending, and we think we're going to get a lot of mileage out of that. But continue to do our work on our math curriculum. We also have a math committee as well as a data committee. Math committee met again today. And so we're mapping out strategies and discussing how we go about improving where we are both with the teaching but as well as the learning. So those are some of the things that we're working on. Parent feedback, one of the big things we need to get an accurate gauge of what parents think we do need to increase the number of responses per parent. But regardless of that, we want to have more parents telling us that we're more help to them. We had 66% of our parents saying, very much so, or yes, that were really helpful. We would like to see at least 80%. We'd like to have 100%, but we'd like to see that number grow, so that parents feel that we're a resource to helping their kids learn. So we're doing things. There's an after-school health club going on. Which is separate and apart from the math enrichment program. So National Junior Honor Society once a week is providing extra help for kids. So anybody who wants to come to the library and get extra help after school, that's available. We are increasing what's being put on the website, and we do expect that teachers to make a regular comment. So we're hoping that people will see that there's a public difference.
If I had a question about your goal, and I was just trying to, and I know that both you and Mr. Shaw had done separately. You increased the response rate of the parents by 70%. Is that, she had done a number? So I was going to ask her, okay, so what's your percentage? Just so that I'm trying to put numbers in my head. So if you had, what was the percentage of parents that were responded?
Percentage?
Very small.
25%.
Okay. Okay.
We have about 50. It's less than we have about 50 families.
And how many individual families do you know do we have in the middle school?
You know, I don't know the exact number of families that we have. I know the number of students.
I'm just trying to do apples to apples as far as, because I know that we've got a lot of kids repeat.
Right.
So I was just trying to get a mental picture of you know,
Yeah.
what we would be doing, like how many members that was. Anybody else have any questions? Second chance for each thing. And I guess my question for the Yasmin was just the reverse of that is what's the percentage of?
Well, and actually, if you look in the shaded block just above it, the darker shaded block, it says we'll increase the minimum of 25%. And my sense is she means 25% of the number that we could have of the 100. Because if you increase, last year 41 parents responded, and if you increase 41 by 25%, that's only 10 families. So,
Okay.
so I think that the just the
I
picture
was
is
trying
not
to do
quite
the math,
clear, and
and my head
looked
was
at
just
that.
not.
Oh, dear. So we'll fix
I was
that.
trying to feel it was really, apparently I did not, I need the extra math help today.
So if you
All right. And as far as the consent agenda for the policies, before we make a motion to do that, I know I have a couple that I want to pull out, just I had questions about, but I wanted to ask if anybody else in the policy review had any that you wanted to discuss. We'll pass the ones that are everybody is agreement upon, and then we'll pull out the ones that we need to discuss.
So you'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda and a second, and then Ms. Jenner will say, is there anything you'd like removed? And then people will say that, and we'll just check those off, and then the rest of them are already on the agenda, and they have been pulled, so you would vote on that, and then you would move forward with each item that was removed.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? A motion to approve the consent agenda. Okay. Second? Okay. And
Yes, whatever.
okay, now I have to pull out. So I would like to pull out 210. 1100. 1324.
She's using the original list from the last meeting, so it's-
The 411, 42211. And some of these are just, I have questions, I just have clarifications and I've already. 5141.4. And then 5131.6. Are there any other policies that anybody had any questions or any clarifications on?
Excellent. On 2131.
Yep.
I could comment on 2131.
Which, 2131, okay, we'll pull it out.
Okay.
Yep. Any sort of comment, question, and some,
It's very light.
Yep. Yep. And any other ones? So now we can just go through each
So
one.
we just approve the rest, so.
Okay,
we
so
can vote on the rest
can
of the
I
consent
have a motion to approve the rest of the policies as presented?
Make a motion to approve.
agenda.
That's the policy.
You already seconded it. Remember?
So we second, so they're all good, so we just have to vote and vote. Okay. Everybody agree with the aye?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. All right. So for 210, it's just because it says Nutmeg School in the first paragraph, so it's just a typo. But other than that, it's fine. For 1110, in the third paragraph, I just had a question about, just talking about putting the Board of Ed and the staff email addresses on the website. I know that we, and Keith had sent an email today that, with Greg, that the website is almost finalized, but I just wanted to make sure that it was clear, because I know that we had had some confusion and discussion of the BOE at brooklynschools.org versus the Brooklyn Board of Ed. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear individual addresses, because I think, Keith, correct me if I might have backwards. BOE at Brooklyn Schools is only if you're sending it from a Brooklyn Schools email. But
The main mailbox is BOE at Brooklyn Schools.
That goes all
that goes
to
out,
everyone.
but it's only if you send it from a Brooklyn Schools board.org,
So,
not from an outside email. It's like an internal group. So I just wanted to make sure that when we post it on, it was a way for, to send something to all board members. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that that was clear. In the process of updating the website, that.
So
Well,
does
I'm
the
not
board
sure.
want a
I'm
group
not-
email?
We do
on the
have
website?
one, and it forwards to me, it's Brooklyn BOE. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure that it's only simple link, so we should try.
The one that you get, the one that goes to you is the one that anybody can send to. So a Hotmail address, a Yahoo, whatever.
Right.
But if you do BOE at brooklynschools.org, that's an internal group that can only be sent.
Are you sure? I'm just saying, I'm not sure about that.
I believe that's what we were having problems with, is that it, because somebody was trying to send something from, say, a Gmail address and it wasn't going. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that.
It's kind of odd because everyone else gets email from everybody.
But because I think it was it's a group setup thing, so I just wanted to make sure that was clarified, so that was just an thing. On 1324, on number 1, do we have a fundraising form?
1324 is actually in your packet for tonight. We have removed it.
Is the student fundraising activity?
So we put it, actually, it's on your regular agenda tonight, 1324. If you look on your
Okay.
agenda under number 11,
Okay.
because there was discussion. So
Okay.
if you want to just hold back
Okay.
to that point.
Okay. Because my question was, is there an actual form, a fundraising form?
there's a lot of key policies that refer to specific forms.
Okay.
We're not planning to use those forms. In most cases, we have our own forms,
Okay.
but we try
The one
to.
that I gave you tonight has a cross off. I have it put in the packet for last week, yes.
Okay.
Okay, because I think.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can confirm that you cannot send to DOE everything without an offset.
Okay. Okay. So I guess when we put stuff on the website, I just want to make sure that,
So if you sort of go from the DOE.
yeah. The 13 and 24. And you said you had a question about 20.
There's just a very minor typo at the bottom of 2131. Under personnel and staffing, the last sentence where it says, will discipline and suspend personnel for
And I think there are two word twos in the last line of that same paragraph. For serious misconduct and behavior too detrimental to the welfare.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the first two does not belong there. And when I gave you the packet at the last board meeting, we were missing page 2. So in your board packet that was delivered on Friday, you have both pages.
All right, so 411. And this is just clarification on my part, because I was confused. Are we adding this language, kind of piecing it around the language that was already there? I was just having trouble following. Sorry, so we're just basically inserting the paragraphs around what is already.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I had
Yes.
understood that. And for 5141, is that the items that they're underlined? I guess I was having trouble following how. The reporting of child abuse. Oh,
I don't have that one.
this is the old one.
Yeah, I wonder.
This is the one I have from last time. I don't have this one.
So that was not in
Okay, look after, no, look before.
4512.
Yep. Look before 5131. It's out of order. That's right. Yeah. I just was, with the stuff that's underlined, I guess I was just trying to figure out how it was.
right. Those, the underlines need to go. Our policy is fine and very much like their policy, except we need to include the underlined pieces because those are missing, such as gender identification and things like that.
Okay, so
And then
these sections with these like little part sentences would be just kind of
would be
into
put
it.
into
Okay.
our policy,
Okay.
and then the last section as
Okay.
well.
And then. That makes 6. Yep. I think that's the same thing. Is that just going to be an insert of adding the language,
Yes.
the newer language of what things were into their
Yes.
corporate little paragraph? Okay.
Yeah, so more or less what happened Amy, was when Kate did the audit for us, they came back and they said, what you have is fine, but you should add this language also. So without reinventing the whole thing, we're trying to just piece it together to get something.
And that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I just was trying to make sure
Yeah.
that I was kind of understanding that we didn't have to rewrite
Right.
our
No.
entire thing and
Not
just
perfect,
insert a
but
couple
we
of words
covered
here and there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Okay. That works. That does.
So we're not including,
So we're gonna just table the 1324.
so you're approving, and then you would need to read those numbers.
Okay. So if, can I make a motion?
There's all, Well,
ask for a motion.
yes.
right.
You should, yes.
Can I ask for a motion to approve, the following policies as amended if we include the words, 210, 1,100, 2,131, 4,111, which is also double coded as 4,211, 5,141.4, and 5,131.6.
So moved.
You made them, well, I was reading them first.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for all of the numbers that
Thanks.
you, Justin.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? All right. Anybody opposed? Okay. Dr. Prado?
If we have anything that's, except what's in your information. That's fine. We have information from the elementary school about sports. That's not just doing very well. A report from the bus company today that things seem to be getting better. So we now have, just for your information, our Woodstock buses, bus 3 and bus 3A meet each other at 6:55, and they have been consistently getting to Woodstock at 7:18, which gives the kids a good 15 minutes or so before they start. And we've had our second day of late bus runs for the math enrichment program, and we did have to split that bus, so we do have 2 buses, and they have been going in just an hour. So they're going to pick middle school and elementary school picks up. We're getting there, and we did add another run to the midday to get kids in school free.
I was just curious about the after-school program, how we're paying for
Some of it can be out of Title I funds, so we're still looking at what was used last year, and we have a little carryover for this year.
Anything else for administrators that you have? Any public comments? All right. So for committee reports, I did go to Board of Finance last week. Congratulations, Mr. Otto. Apologies, I'm not you knew you were getting it, so because everybody said not it before you did. So Mr. Otto is the new chair of the Board of Finance, and we appreciate his presence here as well. The meeting went well. Looking forward to budget season and audit season. I'm sure it's the most fun time of year. So, anything else that we need to share at this point?
I'll say what I said at the Board of Finance. It became known publicly in the last 2 weeks that, despite his utterances to the contrary, Governor Lloyd has asked the heads of state government departments to begin looking at 10% budget reduction. Whether that's a serious request or an exercise intended to flush out some budget reductions lower than 10% is entirely unclear. And of course, the large questions that the budget what would be. The charges that Trappist Rights kind of actually takes place, but from a town government point of view, we have to start taking a look at how we can construct a town budget that was 10% below this year. And some serious reductions in last year's budget. It's going to be very difficult. You folks will face exactly the same situation because of the statutes. Although once the state government gets into the kind of problems that we believe they're going to get into, it's the only question is whether they try to modify some existing statutes. I guess I'm suggesting that everyone keep a close eye on
Any other meetings that we will have?
Well, I think I shared with everyone the big news about the academy purchasing high. That's probably the biggest thing happening. And from a Board of Finance perspective, Chris Stanford has committed that the tuition increase will be no greater than 200 per student. I think it's an incredible opportunity with all that we're getting. I mean, the academy has growing pains in terms of they can't put all their kids in the same auditorium. Now they'll have Hyde's auditorium. The track at Bentley can't be used. It's unsafe, so we can't post home meets. Now we have a new track, an Ealing track. There's doubles of many things.
Like the football field?
Right, the
But
dormitories
it's
are
lighted.
probably the biggest thing. So the issue right now is, when international kids come as boarding students, they don't have dorms, and they're put in homes with either hosting families, or they have some homes that they purchased in different residential areas in Putnam and Woodstock, but they're pretty much at capacity, and now they'll have the capacity for more dorm space. So in terms of solving all of those problems, it gives them that much more space. There's a lot in terms of logistics, I think, that needs to work out. I know there's rumblings about needing a traffic light, which is a big thing in Woodstock. It's 2.2 miles from the campus, the academy to Hyde, so working all of that out, all the little nitty-gritty things in terms of cafeteria and security and what kind of programming will happen there. So all sorts of things, but there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm and energy. The board unanimously approved it. So it's a big deal. Right. Yeah. The other thing at the academy that I was excited about is one of our students, a former Brooklyn Middle School student now at the academy, was recognized as Player of the Year for all female athletes in all sports in the state of Connecticut. So this is the first time it's in all sports, and that was Paige Studinsky. There was also a student recognized for the CAPS Award. That was one of our students, Vivek Shirian. So that was exciting. Those are really the big things that were going on in the academy. It's a huge thing. Yeah,
They put that in.
they're planning a 2-day offsite retreat to kind of start thinking about how we do all of this stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
We also keep
Conley and I attended a presentation at Hillary High School earlier today. They've invited all of our 8th grade to come up and kind of articulately and learn a little bit more about the high school and try to help them with their decision making for next year. So I think there were 72 8th graders that went up, all but one from the 8th grade class went up and sat through a nice presentation for about an hour, took tours, did some of the students from Clinton High School, did tours throughout the day, had lunch with some of the students from Clinton High School, so really nice to put together. And then Kevin Marcoux from Killingley sent me an email with some former Brooklyn's middle school students who were recently elected to the National Honor Society of Killingley High School. There's 5 of them, former Brooklyn students. And then another Brooklyn student who attended the Hobby Leadership Conference representing Killingley High School. There's a former Brooklyn student who is the liaison to the Killingley Board of Ed this year. And then a number of Brooklyn students both on the girls and boys soccer teams for senior night. So good representation from Brooklyn and Killingley High School. I was really amazed by the ag program that they have up there. It is unbelievable. It's the stuff they've got going on, and the career path choice that they have is just really interesting. So really good presentation.
Just to piggyback on that a little bit, I couldn't make that meeting today, and I reached out to Kevin. He extended the offer that if anybody on the board wasn't able to make it today, that he invited us during the school day, at night, on the weekend. If anybody wanted to go and tour, just you reach out to and contact him at a time, and he would find a way. And I said, definitely, keep me on the list. I just wasn't able to move enough stuff around today.
So we're going to do it.
Yeah, well, and I had invited him, so actually, we were going to go back and forth today, and I invited him and the principal up there to come down and do a presentation similar to the Woodstock one. We'll figure out when we can send, but at some point, one of our upcoming program meetings, we can do something. Okay, communications update. Okay. On the communications committee, the really good news, the website looks like it's nearly finished for both schools. We're planning to launch within the next 2 weeks. Mr. Lessig is thinking next week, but I know how website launches go, so I'm going to say the next 2 weeks. But he's in the final stages of just kind of checking everything and working through the last bit of content that he's moving over to the new site. So we should have that up very shortly. He has added a link on the new website, which you'll see for our YouTube channel. We have the Board of Ed, where we're streaming all of the meetings. And he's going to post links to the future broadcasts out on the website as well, so they'll be readily available and easily accessible for the public, the teachers, the staff, and everybody. We do have 14 subscribers now to the YouTube channel, on the Board of Ed YouTube channel, so big time. And I guess that's really it. So, I was going to mention too, the first time we did a broadcast, it was really funny, and we never brought this up before, but anytime I was next to each other during the first broadcast, and we actually had a parent who was watching.
This one?
I don't know, did one?
I just texted you to see if she wanted to come get the kids.
Oh, it was before the back to school barbecue.
Yeah.
And she is also in the fire department.
Yes.
So she actually heard us broadcasting and texted Kelly an answer to something that we had talked about and we're asking about live. So we'll be doing live tweeting here. So it was really interesting. It was really funny.
All right, so
I have a quick East Penn update too. So East Penn's meeting this week, they had announced that they bought 2 new buildings. One is Dexter's old building in Killenly on West Cap Road. Yeah. So that's their new Northeast Learning Center. So they have a lot of adult education programs going on there, ESL, GED classes. And they also bought a building in Wyndham. They had Wyndham Mills, and now they've purchased the American, well, not, I don't know if they're purchasing it, they're leasing it, but the American Job Center in Tyler Square. So for the first time ever, they're partnering with the state of Connecticut in the same facility, which is kind of nice in terms of you have people going there for their adult education needs and to get certain skills, and then they're in the same space and location as the state of Connecticut Job Center.
all right. Policy 13.4.
So I provided a new copy of it in your board packet for this evening. So it arrived last Friday, it should arrive at your house. And you can see the question that Jenna had in under number 1 on the form provided that those rules were removed. My question is truly about the second full paragraph, starting with upon approval by the superintendent. And so if you read that paragraph, you'll see that the superintendent does have leeway if the information that's going to be distributed to students is from a recognized charitable institution, could result in voluntary student and or parent activities, contributions, etc. So when I read that, it's there's a lot of gray in that paragraph about what we do. So I will give you 2 instances, however, that just occurred this week, that if that paragraph was in, the superintendent could possibly have approved that. And one was about a week ago, the Woodstock Academy boys soccer team was doing a fundraiser for cancer. And they were doing a soccer camp that they were charging for. And so that would have been a voluntary activity for parents and students to go to Woodstock to be with them, and it was a fundraiser for cancer. So, but these weren't strictly Brooklyn students doing the fundraiser. It was the Woodstock Academy soccer team. So that would have been one that would have fit under this. Because we didn't have this, I put them on the counter, et cetera, and left the flyers there. The other was, I was speaking with the president of Kennebunk Valley Community College this morning, and we were talking about the trail walking or running activity. They just had a 20-mile trail, so that would have been something that, and that raised money for scholarships for students at the college. And so that would be another charitable organization, voluntary activity, fits in with our curriculum, et cetera. So those are two very appropriate examples of what could go if the board approves that paragraph in there. However, there are probably organizations that might not be as approved. And so, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, so let's say the Brooklyn, all right, the Brooklyn Hitler Youth Organization would like to, and they're a recognized charity, so whatever that means, the 501c3, et cetera, that could result in voluntary student activities. And just because I might not believe in their philosophy, is that enough reason? That it puts a lot of gray into that paragraph, and puts the superintendent and the district in a difficult position, whereas this group could come and say, this says nothing about whether you believe in what we believe in. It just says that we're charitable, et cetera. And I would have a very hard time distributing that flyer to our students. So,
and just to kind of get you, the superintendent, off the hook, wouldn't it be because that particular group is just discriminatory?
that
Would it, do we, in other words, would it piggyback on a discrimination policy if you're actively discriminating? That is not in line with what school policy is.
but we wouldn't know the extent of their
Research
discrimination.
each organization and their philosophy and their history.
Right,
Yeah,
but
that's a lot of.
that's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring it up to the board and pull it out of that consent agenda, bring it up to the board for your discussion on that paragraph. It would be my recommendation not to have the paragraph, because I think that puts your superintendent in a difficult Solomon kind of situation of what she can do.
So does
But
that
if you
then
think that
limit?
you want that does, yes, that limits, you're right. It limits the ability to put out the Woodstock Academy, the trail fundraiser, et cetera, that would be wonderful activities. It doesn't limit us from putting them in a pile on the counter, but it does limit us from sending them out with all students.
Or
And
yeah,
backpack.
whatever,
And the former
electronic
policy,
backpack.
the former policy that we had none of that one.
Right.
So just eliminate that one paragraph that starts with upon and ends with organizations. And does that cover it sufficiently to
So
help?
if we remove it, so the soccer, we can't distribute that.
Correct.
See, I think we should be able to do that.
And is a group gonna come in?
Well, it comes up every year about Cub Scouts. That's one that I know that comes up every year.
Cub Scouts would be able to, the new KLY, we'd be able to distribute those, all of those.
With or without,
If this is in, we could distribute all of those.
that's
I
out.
mean, we wouldn't make copies, they would do that.
No,
Right,
as far as and I say from the Boy Scout side,
Right.
they provided all the copies, they even sorted it out, and it was like, okay,
Like 20 packets for,
each
19
slot or
classrooms,
whatever.
yeah. But like last year, they were not allowed to. It's been like a gray area. Some
Under
years
our
it's been a yes,
policy,
some
we
years
don't
it's been a
distribute.
no.
Right, it is a gray area, I think, because the thought was, you can't be using the child as the messenger, that there's other ways to distribute information versus, getting it in kids' backpacks and sending it home. I think that was kind of the thought at one point in time, and how much of that do you do, and where do you draw the line, and how much of a hub does your school become for all of that information in the community.
But, and I
This
think
is,
that our,
this is about fundraising, you're talking about notification about
Boy
soccer.
Scouts.
Boy Scouts. so
Well,
Isn't that?
I think
that's
they-
different.
Different.
This is
Fundraising.
yeah,
is-
it is specifically fundraising.
because the Boy Scout stuff, the Cub Scout stuff was not for fundraising, it was just
Just,
a,
right.
and I think
No,
that,
and soccer would be just notification,
Right.
this policy is about fundraising.
That's true.
What if it's a school, the Woodstock soccer team, like that's a school group? I don't think that they should be able to, that, the one that they're on. I think that's a great thing, it's fantastic what they're doing. I didn't know about it.
Well, I think I remember this being an issue in terms of, you've got hundreds of consultants out there who sell many different things, whether it's candles or bags or whatever it might be. And what happened was, I remember this issue very profoundly. It was during PTO days, but there were people in school, parents of children that were consultants for different groups, and they felt as though they were offering their product as a fundraiser. Why are you doing Yankee Candle and not doing this candle? And I will do it as a fundraiser. So then it became, okay, where do you draw the line? You've got Tupperware and Paper Chef and this and that. And if you say to one, then you have to say yes to one, you have to say yes to all. And that was fundraising. I mean, they were specifically saying funds raised through this process,
Which
we will turn back to the school.
Which is why we do it through PTO, because the PTO.
But
But
that's
I'm-
not what
I
this
think
does.
this is-
That's PTO policy.
But I think this is from like a charitable organization.
so it's not that it's, so
I guess
I
we
think,
can look at it either way.
I would say that
Can't
it
have
excludes what you're talking about, because, okay, so I'm choosing to raise money for the school, and I in turn am gonna turn it back to the school, but it's not the school raising the money, I'm just choosing to do that, so I think that's, I would exclude that as a consultant union.
Well, it says fundraising in conjunction with school-sponsored projects.
Well, I understand what you're saying, however, the first paragraph says, no fundraising, on our old policy, no fundraising shall be permitted without written authorization and approval of the superintendent. And the new one says, fundraising activities may be approved by the superintendent consistent with the following guidelines. So even without that extra paragraph, it seems like the superintendent has some
That's what I was
control over doing it. Correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It feels like the first 3 points there kind of help me in that.
I think the superintendent's still on the hook for giving the approval.
Right, but it would help to allow you to say no to.
To something that was really outside of the.
The paragraph that
Would
we're
be
trying to
educational
raise,
sound.
or suggesting that we raise, it really isn't necessarily fundraising. It says that information from recognized charitable or other organizations which could eventually result in voluntary student or parental activities, contributions, or memberships. I think that's where like the Cub Scouts and stuff fall in, is in this paragraph. Because by sending home Cub Scout sign-up information, it could result in,
But this is under the fundraising policy.
that's what I'm saying, but that upon approval by the superintendent, that paragraph,
Well, it isn't. The second one says community relations soliciting funds from
by students, which I guess
Not
as a Cub
student,
Scout,
not community funding.
right.
So that I think we might
I don't think the paragraph will.
That-
Particularly based on the other policies that are cited.
Well, that paragraph, I think, allows for distribution of materials from groups that are looking to,
we have another
for
policy.
activities
That's what I
and
think,
whatnot.
another
Another
policy
policy
related
that
to
would,
community organizations.
So-
I don't think.
So what we could do is just add where it says information in that paragraph, information regarding fundraising. We add fundraising in that paragraph, that would kind of make sense to each word.
But see, I don't think it's our responsibility as a school. I see where May and Joan are going, that like, this seems like more of a, this is, that paragraph allowing the distribution of signups.
Right.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you add in, if you say specifically about fundraising, then it takes out the whole.
It's almost like two separate policies
sign-up.
squashed into one. You have the top is all about fundraising.
Yeah.
I think
This is
I do
about
too.
distribution of
I
materials
agree.
from an organization such as, for an example, Cub Scouts, which could result in involvement in such an activity, membership.
But it has nothing about soliciting funds.
No.
It's not about funds, it's about
Completely different.
Yeah,
Right,
and
so that's-
these two policies seem to me to be two, this is how we're gonna deal with requests from groups such as Cub Scouts or soccer or wrestling to distribute to students, and then there's a whole nother section of it that's specifically for, like you said, the soccer.
Yeah, 1325, it was in your packet, your board packet right after the lead page. There were two policies included, 1325 for advertising information.
No advertising information.
Yeah, the one
Oh,
from
in
that
the-
we gave Friday.
All right, I'm in the one from Friday, for 1324.
So I hear what you're saying. I was just saying if we add the word fundraising in that paragraph, and we make that paragraph.
Oh, 1325.
About fundraising, then
Advertising it, it's right before, 2131. No, this way. It's 6 pages back. So this is about advertising or promoting interests.
So like the soccer, that's not really, that's just notification event that we're doing.
Right.
Right, but it's still an event that the team's putting on versus going out soliciting money, it's just we haven't spent on just an event. I see that as different.
I do, and I think that paragraph really refers more to what is in here for advertising and promotion.
Anything that is, I feel like this college should be more fundraising for our school, not fundraising for
Somebody else's.
which, like, I understand what, like Eric was saying, is like, that would be nice if, Conkeep was available with soccer, and I see that it's benefiting the Woodstock soccer team and that, but I think that's more.
Well, number two, they're educational and benefits. Which each school handles students and what they do. So it's not just fundraising in general, it's something for students. That's what we call it.
So in fact, the Calvin, they hire us out, like, high school meetings. The Brooklyn students.
I see them as, I see them as.
Yeah,
But I
there are
don't
students.
understand.
But we were just talking about the Woodstock Academy
Right.
bringing their forms and distributing them in whatever way,
Oh,
whether
I
it's
see.
on the counter or.
So even though the money's not coming back to the middle school.
Well, it says to the school and or students, so in that case, it would be going to the students, I guess. It's a little. This is what we paid for? This is a paid policy? Yes.
So are we thinking that the upon approval paragraph belongs better in 1325 or 1324?
Well, I'll say again, I think if we just have the word fundraising, it locks it into the 1324 number.
Separates out.
Right. I mean, it's under that title, it's under that policy that says about fundraising, even though it's a fundraising that paragraph, it's still under that section. But if we want to further clarify it, fundraising in there, upon approval of the superintendent, information regarding fundraising from recognized charitable, and, so if we're saying we're only going to accept information that's for fundraising, because we like, helps with that.
But it still has to be approved by the student.
And so,
Yeah.
right.
How do you feel about that?
Information regarding fundraising for
I don't think
if we're gonna word something.
and then the last sentence, using distribution of fundraising material. We say use of fundraising material.
So does it make sense to add fundraising in the first line, regarding fundraising after information, and then in the second to the last line, the distribution of fundraising material?
Or the distribution of materials, solicitors funds from students, because that's really what it is. it's fundraising, but it's not in general, they're actually asking the students to participate, they're not going out into the public to fundraise. I mean, to me, a fundraiser is I go and ask them about family circle, but they're actually asking the students to participate. That's what the title of this is, soliciting funds from the students. It doesn't say fundraising.
So I think it covers both.
The old one said fundraising activities, which,
Well, the new one is fundraising activities.
well, the title is soliciting funds from and by students.
So it would cover both, where they're
But
they're
they
looking
sound like
for money.
community fundraising, it sounds like.
So like if a Woodstock team is doing a color run, say, they wanna, that would be soliciting from the students, because the students would be paying to participate in that activity, but then there could also be like, yeah, like raise, if you go out and raise $100, you can run for free. So it's by and from, it covers both scenarios. Which could happen.
Is there any, could we table this till next month, or is that detrimental?
Is there
Just
an
to think
option
about
B
it
on this
some
one?
more, I'm just thinking we need to think about this some more. And maybe,
there's another-
yeah, look
Because
at some other options and go to Kate.
Because 1325 is weird too.
Yeah.
So
So don't chance to think about it.
Joan is gonna make a motion to table 1324 with the possibility of.
I think 1325 too, because this I think is a weird policy, the way that it's written.
We just passed that.
We just passed 1325? I thought that was an old one. I mean, a new one.
I second the motion.
All right. All right. Any other comments?
Can we relook at 1325 if 1324 has part of 1325 in it later on?
I think we're looking to define it.
No, but I think some of 1324 is gonna end up in 1325. Yeah. But I think it's part of this paragraph belongs here. I mean, now that we're seeing this 1324 next to it, I mean, in my opinion, this whole thing really belongs here to make this one make sense.
I think what you're saying.
But yes, I do think they are, but this paragraph in 1324 is really a 1325.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just the paragraph in question.
Yes.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think potentially that affects 1325, the way that they're written. I guess, to make note, if we're tabling 1324, that we may need to look at 1325. That's me.
So, we need to do one thing at a time. So we're gonna, we have a motion a second to table 1324 to look at more options. All in favor of doing that?
Or.
Yep.
It's still, the superintendent, both policies might say that, and have to put that restriction on both of that.
I think she was saying we can't distribute the Woodstock soccer. We can distribute anything.
Discretion. And I think that was Dr. Conway's point, that she didn't want.
But either way, it's either, even if we take this paragraph out, it says it has to be approved by the superintendent. So either way, it's up to the discretion of the superintendent.
Yes, both policies.
No, I mean, even with the Dr. Conway's suggestion to take out this paragraph, it still says specifically to be approved by the superintendent. So either way, it falls on the superintendent to determine whether or not.
Correct.
But we just said earlier, if we took that out, it was promoting a lot of distribution.
How does that not allow you
The policy without that is just about school-sponsored activities, and I consider the middle school and the elementary school our schools, because we don't have control of the other schools in the kids' building. Okay, so the board has control over others. And so 1, 2, and 3 are basically what we're doing now.
but only for open schools?
And so the superintendent can then approve of these other flyers, but they get put on the counters in the office. And so anyone that walks through can take them.
So basically, you have to know that.
You have to know it's there.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
be sticking them in backpacks that have them home with
Right,
them.
or even electronic. We can always give them to the PTOs to make it as well.
Ours all go through school too.
It goes right to the school master.
However, if they pertain to the high school students aren't here anyway.
But
I was something like the soccer.
some of the things that, look, if they're doing fundraising events, okay, so what if we have the eighth graders that won't be in high school next year, so maybe they're looking to participate, or maybe like the soccer, and I don't know anything about the soccer camp, but what if it's the soccer camp that the high school is doing is actually for smaller children? So that would be our kids, so maybe their soccer team
So
was.
they want all the younger kids to come up.
So, I mean, I could see, like, it could go both ways, like, it could be an event that's only for the older people, the older students, excuse me, but what if it's a fundraising event that affects the younger kids? If they're looking to target the younger kids as their. Okay, so we have a motion to table, so you want to table 13.1, we're good with that? Is that, aye, okay. Okay. In order to review 1325, to pull it back out, I need a 2/3 majority to relook at 1325. Do we feel that we need to relook at 1325, or should we evaluate where we get to 1324 first?
I think we need to look at 1325 if we're going to take out that part of 1325.
Okay, so
What,
Kelly's,
what's the relationship?
The paragraph in 1324 relates specifically to,
well, we haven't decided that.
I know, that's why I just want to leave it open, that if we remove that paragraph, I really think it needs to relate to 1325. So yes, I would like to make a motion to relook at 1325 after we finish 1325.
Okay, so Kelly would like to make a motion to unapprove. It's 1325. Do I have somebody that would like to second their motion to relook at 1325? The 1325 is going to stand as that is. Okay, school group.
Mr. Smith, would you move forward to the table?
Hi, Tony. Hey, how are you?
I am here basically to give you an overview of where we're standing.
You may have to use the microphone because the blowers back here are very loud, and if you don't mind, I'll give a quick intro. That's all right with you? Okay, thank you. As you know, we've been looking at the roofs of both buildings, and the town has approved funding for an architect to get the projects moving. So we have had people come in to look at both, two different companies come in just to give us information on the roofs, and we found that there are going to be decisions that the board is going to have to make. The one decision I'm asking you to make this evening is to approve that administration put out a request for qualifications and proposals for a project manager for the project. If we do that, we would do that tomorrow. The closing date would be the 17th, which is just after your next meeting. The person would begin immediately on this project, and then we would try to get an architect, and then the questions that Mr. Tusia and I are going to bring up to you this evening would need to be answered by the board on December 20th, your December 20 meeting, so that we could then go out immediately for an architect. So we have a very strict timeline that we're going to try to do. And there are three decisions that you'll be making on December 20th. One is about how many roofs you will do, one or two, and Mr. Tusia will explain that in a moment. The second would be the type of roofing material that you will use, and there are three types in the works here, one that we have on this building and two possible for the other building. And then the last one would be, are you going to consider, is solar panels, is that a priority of yours? And if it is, whether it is now or later, then that feeds into your decision about the material on the roof for a couple of reasons. And I'll turn this over to you, Mr. Tosier, to talk about one roof or two.
Thank you.
Here's the mic.
Okay, so what we have here,
We can push on
can you hear me? Hello? Okay. What we have here is two different types of roof on the two schools. The middle school roof is built up asphalt felt with a flooded gravel coating on it. It was done in 1999. We've done some core testing on that roof, and two different companies who came in and looked at that roof. And although it is 20 years old, it's in pretty good shape. We've got
You're going to stop, but you did say 99, and I know that wasn't good.
95. I'm sorry, 95. That roof is 95. It's in pretty good shape. But we did get some estimates for a complete new roof and some estimates for repairs that could extend that roof life for another 5 to 10 years. We have a couple of minor leaks and flashing that need to be repaired. Some expansion joints that need to get repaired, and we would like to do an infrared scan if we can keep that roof to inspect the insulation. Now the insulation would be the core test, turns out to be almost 5 inches thick. It meets today's code and it meets today's pitch per foot. We have like over 30 R values of insulation on roof. Price-wising, the state right now is reimbursing us at a rate of 72.8%. The cost of that roof would be roughly between 2.1 million and 2.4 million. So the town cost would be roughly 500,000 to 650,000.
Is it the new or the repair?
That would be the new.
Okay.
The repair work, which would include the repairing of the expansion joints, flashing, refilling some of the pitch boxes, repairing some of the exposed material, and replacing the piece work. We're doing the infrared scan, and we also have 5 satellites that don't meet OSHA requirements. There's no cover mode, so we have to bring that up to code. And those estimates range from 5,000 to about 10 to 4,000. And that would get us 5 to 10 years life out of that roof.
$5,000 for the repairs.
5 to 10,000 for those repairs. With a minimum of 5 more years of life. Plus there'd be some yearly maintenance, but that's true on any roof. So that's the easy roof. That roof contains 81,000 square feet. And that price is about $30 a square foot to rip that roof up and replace it.
So before Mr. Tosier moves to the elementary roof to pull that together, the decision the board will be making, and you will be provided with lots more information when we have the real, neither of us are roofers, we know a lot about roofs, but neither of us are the roofers. So we'll be providing you as soon as the project manager comes on board with lots more information so you can make an informed decision. So originally this roof, our conversation was to replace the roof. We do have, I want to say, three lakes. But when people went up on the roof, when the roofers went up and looked at the core sample, they said this roof is in good shape. And with just repairs, you can get another 5 to 10 years. I don't know, and certainly Mr. Arias, chair of the finance board, would know, what the town's plan was. This would mean that in 5 to 10 years, probably 7 to 10, 5 is very conservative, that we would be bonding for another roof at that point, but one roof. And going forward, we do have one. So the board needs to make that decision as to, and certainly speak with Mr. Otto and Mr. Ives to discuss what is the bonding schedule of the town and when are bonds going to fall off, or is there something new that is being planned in Brooklyn that I would have no knowledge of at this point for another 5 years that will have a bond. So that's just a discussion that we'll have to have more informed, certainly by the town, as well as the roofers. So that's your first decision. Will be that on the 20th.
Thank you. The second roof is the elementary roof. That's a little more complicated, and I gave you a layout basically of the roof. It's been re-roofed.
Everyone should have one in their place.
The print excludes the new section of the preschool. Obviously, on the right, you'll see the rose ring, which was just done. And the dates, roughly, well, actually, when the warranties went into effect for the other roofs. We have a total of 67,700 square feet of roof we're talking about right now. 54,700 square feet is actually over 20 years. There is approximately 13,200 that was done in 1999, which is the West Wing Roof A. And that actually consists of not the entire roof, but it basically was from the left to about where the green arrow would stop. So, and then the right side of that roof was done in 95. The roof E is kind of unknown. I couldn't find any information, but it looks like about the same age as C and D. That is actually the worst part of the roof right now. The problem with this roof is the PVC roof. And when it fails, unlike this roof fails, it has a tendency to shatter. And if it shatters, we're in trouble. And it's getting to the point where it could shatter, especially that section. It gets very brittle. All the sun takes all the pliability out of it. And it's the end of the way for that kind of roof. Our problem is basically state will not reimburse us for the 13,200 square foot at full value. They will take, for 2 years, 10% off that value. But it doesn't make sense not to do that section at the same time for various reasons. And we'll get into that. But right now, what we basically are looking at are 2 different types of roofs. The first roof, we're going to do all this at one shot, because it's already pitched roof, most of it has a slope to it. Unlike this roof, where we have to put in secondary drainage to meet code, that roof wouldn't need that except in the flat area. So this is really basically just re-roofing the roof except for that flat area where we would have to increase the pitch and the drainage, secondary drainage systems. We looked at 2 different types of roofing. First being a basic 3-ply particle process laydown type asphalt belt, couple layers of belt with a granulated top coat on it. Comes with a 25-year warranty. It costs about $20 to $25 per square foot. So at the square footage we're looking at about $1.5 million. Town cost at, if it was all covered, our part is 27.14%, would be about $415,000. Now, there's a little discrepancy on how the math is done on the state calculations. And we haven't verified that, and I think our consultant definitely verified that. But depending on how that comes out, it could be as little as $11,000 extra or up to about $39,000 for that section that we have to pay. The second type of roof we're looking at is a standing seam metal roof. Obviously, it has a much longer life. It has a life expectancy of 40 years on all the sloped areas. With the flat areas being more of a type of roof that we outlined here, which is built up asphalt felt with a hard coat top layer and then a flooded gravel system over that. But most of that roof would be all metal. The advantages of that would be if you plan to go to a solar roof at any time, your panels would just clip onto the standing seam. There'd be no penetrations. If we go to the other type of roof and you decide to go solar now or later, you're going to be penetrating this roof in many places. You have probably one issue with that too. So the standing seam would, both these roofs had to be taken down to depth by code for the sake of reimbursement. New insulation put in, so all that is the same on both of these. The cost per foot, roughly on the standing seam, is about $30 a square foot. We're looking at a total of 64,700 square feet, comes up to about $2,031,000. The town side, without taking out 10% for that back area, would be about $551,000. There again, I'm not sure exactly what our percentage difference between that 10% off on the 13,000 square foot would be, but it would be in that 11 to 13,000. So those are the two types of options you have. That's what you have for the roof. That roof is in pretty dire shape, and it needs attention, unlike this roof. I think that's what we really want to go forward with. A couple of things to consider is the solar, the timing. If we try to wait out till the 1999 time on that last roof, we're going to be spending money to repair the first part of the older roof. There's no guarantee that a state is going to be still paying us the 72% reimbursement rate. If they even drop 5%, 5% of $2 million is $100,000. So we're falling behind the game, plus the increased material. And the timing, basically, if we do it after, I think we submit it after April 22nd this coming year, we'll be at a 2-year limit. That's kind of in a nutshell, I think. Did I miss anything?
So that would be the second decision would be what type of roof do you want on this? And you can see that there is the metal roof is at a greater cost, certainly, but a warranty of 30 to 45 years as opposed to a warranty of 25 years on the asphalt roof. And then your other thing that feeds into that decision is, and I haven't been involved in the solar discussions with the board, but there are many boards of ed who want solar panels on their roofs. We have a pitched roof. This is a perfect roof for it. Many people have to build it up in order to put the panels on, and that's not good. But if we go with the metal, panels clip onto the metal seams. And but if you go with the asphalt, absolutely, you're going to penetrate that roof, and so there's possibility of leaks, possibly ruining the warranty, etc. Even if we did the solar right at the same time. So that needs to be part of your thinking when you make this decision. And you don't have to, if you want to go with a metal roof, you wouldn't have to go solar now. You can wait 10 years to see what happens with solar. Maybe they'll all be the size, the panels, and just clip onto one little post or something somewhere.
Do we,
in 10 years.
so the state reimbursement that we get is only for the roof, it wouldn't include solar panels?
Correct.
And
The
all.
solar panels, and we can get someone in to do that. There are projects where they supposedly pay for themselves, same as on your own roof at home when you get a solar company to come in. The payoff on that can be anywhere, I've seen them 7 to 20 years. And so you know, it depends on what your philosophy is, what the board thinks. If that's really green, I personally and professionally don't believe the board would be saving money. It would more be going green if that was what the board wanted to do. Would they pay for themselves? It's very possible. There are companies out there that we can do that. Get them to pay for themselves over a long period of time.
Tony, I have a question. What was the delta in terms of life expectancy with the two different types of roofs? Asphalt and
About 15 years.
and it was 413,000 versus 551.
Roughly. The other issue over the metal too is the life expectancy with the solar. The life expectancy of the solar panels usually outlive an asphalt base roof, and then you pull the panels off and you have a roof. The metal you wouldn't have to deal with that expense.
Well, for nothing, but I'm expecting that the life expectancy of the panels is 20 years. Technology should be improved by that point, so we may be looking at something completely different.
Oh,
as far as-
absolutely.
I mean, I personally have solar panels, and I love my $18 electric bill, and love the fact that I'm not dependent on the grid. So I think we should investigate the solar, at least just to see
Investigate.
incentives that are there, the options to see how well our position is for producing, and because I think that should make a big, I think that should determine or make a factor of what we're looking at. I mean, if we have solar companies that come in and say, yep, it looks great, you're in the right place, it would be a good decision, then I think we should consider the metal roof more. The solar companies come in and say, hey, you'd only need giving back 20%. But it helps, but it helps, in the quantifying as well as just one more thing that justifies the need for the expense to have.
As having been on the building committee in '95, I'm really pleased to hear that this roof is good because I think we were threatened with being tarred and feathered. The day they dedicated this building, they had garbage cans in the hallway collecting raindrops.
Wait, it's one of the weeks.
What's that?
Right.
No, actually, that was the board, that was the picture.
Oh, that was a big, okay.
It doesn't move now, right? This
We have one drain leak and two of the small leaks, but they're in general.
Oh, but in general.
In general, no. We have some other issues with the wall of the auditorium, but really the roof issue, we don't have to deal with that either way. Where they didn't put the correct flashing option into the thing.
So would the board like, it wouldn't be from a vendor that you've chosen, but would the board like perhaps we could get discussion of solar in November?
I would feel great.
I'd just like to suggest that your project manager or perhaps a better person would be your architect person and the other person. I think might want to be involved with the decision about who presented our study. A wide variety of contractors in Connecticut that are proposing solar panels. There are a variety of motivations for those people. Some are capturing tax savings. There are a wide variety of motivations. Secondly, there is a lot of talk about how long solar panels last. There's no question that the technology has improved. But there's quite a bit of discussion out there as to what it's 10 years to recreate a good estimate of panel. Just off the top of my head, uneducated, or anything that we educated comment, it seems to me that we can place having a good view of the last places along straightforward. The town has adequate funding capacity that may either approach, and I would say probably the fact that it's the greatest question in my mind is how long the state continues to reimburse us at 73%. Now, even in last year's budget, there was some discussion of at least a 20% reduction in the payment rate. So actually, as quickly as it's proven in the states, maybe
think we lost some, because we were hired.
Yeah, like we lost something.
We
or
only
something,
lost
wasn't it?
2%, right.
The government's proposal was to reduce, all reimbursements by 20%. That's the legislature.
Pushed it down.
But this year was going to be less. It's going to be less.
So if we have this, if we can have this ready to be approved in this budget year, we would be able to,
Very possible.
we will be able to do that.
So Tony, you mentioned, this area C and D just being very grave. Are we at
Yes.
risk in some way there? I mean, is there something interim or like?
No, I wouldn't. If that was another type of roof, you could do something, but being a PVC roof, once you start cutting into it, the cut will get trapped. You just cut the track.
Would we look at that chimney at the same
I
time?
think that's
Well,
definitely.
the library is
picture,
where-
yeah, we have some consultants.
Because I understand that's been probably right for a while.
It's always a problem.
But that's easy.
We had issues of, or thoughts of either metal plastic, but since we don't use most of it.
We have to take most of it
Price it down because nothing's incinerated out of it anymore.
And then obviously, the time to do that is when you can
Oh,
move over the
absolutely.
hole you create.
Right.
Take
So,
And your suggestion would be kind of suck up that little section on Route A and just redo everything, so everything is on the same exact
Absolutely.
timeline, and so there's no way like that
yeah, what's gonna happen here,
kind of piecemeal of, okay, now nothing's on the same
Yeah,
time. So
how
that's,
that 99 roof didn't get done with the 95 project, probably it's that, right, it was quite ready.
right,
Clearly, you're always off cycle.
I think we need to just
Yeah,
put
but
everything
it's all
in
at
one
the same
schedule,
time.
and then you know exactly where everything is. So, yeah, if we could have, and the companies that gave us the pricing, if we talk to them as far as if they've got relationships with solar companies or
Mr. Rada just suggested allowing the project manager to pull those companies together. So if you want to take that suggestion, you could have that for December 20 as well. You could just wait until December 20. Your decisions, and then you could make the decision after your solar presentation.
So we started off saying we've got approval from the architect, is that include the cost of the project as well?
No, it does not, but we have spoken with the state on multiple occasions, and a project manager is a reimbursable expense from day one. So we absolutely made sure of that. So there is a motion that I would ask that you approve the request. My understanding is that on the town side, that requests for proposals are approved by the council before they go out. And so I'm trying to mirror that. It's, and ask that you do that. So I'll just.
So it wasn't smaller county. Approved by the select.
Select council.
that's it.
Yeah, the board of selectmen approves. And so I'm trying to mirror that. We don't have a charter that says this is what you'll do. So I'm just trying to mirror the practice on the town. So I would ask that you approve the post-pay request for qualifications.
So could I have a motion that the DOE approve that the administration propose a request for qualifications and proposals for project management services for school roof replacement at the Brooklyn Middle School and Brooklyn Elementary School? Thank you, May. Do I have a second? Any questions or discussions? All in favor? Aye.
So at this point, we are looking at both.
We're gonna bring in, you haven't made that decision yet. So we're going out and having all the information about that.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so the next on the item, on the agenda is to appoint a search committee. In the search committee in looking for the replacement superintendent after Dr. Conway's services are done with us. And I would like to have somebody make a motion that the Brooklyn Board of Ed designate the following people to serve as the personnel search committee for the executive search consulting.
This is for it's an executive search, but the personnel search
The
committee.
personnel search committee. So myself, Kelly Harding, Keith Hutchinson, Joan Favela, May Lyons, Eric Anderson, Dr. Conway, and also Jeff Otto representing the Board of Finance. I'll make a motion. Motion. And any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can certainly serve as an advisor, but I can't serve on the committee itself. But I can serve as an advisor.
Can we invite you if we have to invite you into the
Yes.
meeting as?
Yes.
I wanted
Yeah,
to make
I
sure
just-
that you were
I can't
technically
help
be
you,
on
so
the.
I can't do the work. Good.
All right, so we're just amending that Dr. Conway is. All right, any other comments or questions? Yes,
I was just wondering if you should possibly, because they're having so many from the other, or something, or the staff, we could get, but we have it, I don't know, but, I don't know how big you.
I think that's part of the process with the focus groups that they do,
Yeah.
is that they ask and invite other stakeholders in.
Right, I know the focus group would be, there would be a focus group for
Yeah.
staff, but I didn't know if you wanted any staff member on the, you know. Just,
The staff is involved in a lot of other ways. This is your one hire, you have one employee, so the buck stops right here on this table. So certainly you could invite a staff member, but then if you invited a teacher, would you want an administrator, or would you want a professional, would you want a custodian? And all of those people will have opportunity to create the vision of the leader that the district is looking for. So all that input will certainly be there.
because that's what I was thinking with what we've been looking at, the things that the focus groups and the questioning would allow each of those particular.
My
groups.
understanding from the research I did, calling all of the search firms, as part of this process, when they do their focus groups, when they do their online surveys and come back to us with leadership profiles, they're pulling all of that information for us. And your leadership profile is what you move forward with, writing the job description, what you're looking for, all of that. So my hope would be that people
And I agree with Joan on that. Because I think everybody is going to have the chance to provide the feedback and the input and so we can form. But I think this is the way that the board, because like Dr. Conley, this is our one employee that we hire. So, yes. So Kelly made a motion to appoint to the firm, search committee. Keith seconded. All in favor of doing that with the people? Aye. Any opposed? So that is-
As part of this particular agenda item, I would also ask that you identify a search firm. And Ms. Cavalla has been very, very hardworking here. I will allow her to share that with you.
I do actually. I'm looking at it on my phone
I
because
was
I forgot
looking
my
at
copy. Thank you. I'm glad you were ahead of me. All right. So as we look at this together, I'll make it easy. Two of the search committees, I really didn't go any further with. The one that was from Nebraska, M&J, and HYA that was from New Jersey for two reasons. One, M&J didn't provide a fee in their proposal, and HYA, their fee was $18,500. And they didn't have consultants in this area. I mean, I really feel strongly that whoever we hire to do this should be someone who knows New England, and has had experiences here. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, as we had the first two presentations from, CADE and from, CES, they all do the exact same thing. As you go through all of these proposals about what their approach is, it's all the same. They all follow the same steps and the same process. What became different was who did or didn't produce a leadership profile, who did or didn't do a focus group or an online survey, then what resources they tapped to get the word out there, what associations they have, whether or not they assist us with contract negotiations, if they help with the transition plan, and then the credentials of the representatives. Who are the people that are going to be helping us with this? Are they former superintendents? What are their experiences? What references do they have? Which towns have they assisted with hiring principals and superintendents? And then what is their responsibility and timeline? Do they do this in 6 months, 9 months, a year? Cost, of course, and then I just noted some other comments. And what I kind of did with this was picked and choose what I thought the best attributes of all of these packages were that they presented to us, and then called the low bidder, if you will, and asked if all of these things were part of their agreement as well, to make sure that we were in fact, they didn't mention NESDEC in their proposal that they provide a leadership profile, but they in fact do. So it's just a matter of how the proposals are put together, who does what, and how do they do that. NESDEC also did our middle school principal search for us and an elementary principal search for us. And as you can see, their price, I like that the pricing is a la carte. So some of these other firms, for $18,500 or for $13,900, you get the whole thing. Where with NESDEC, if you want to hire them to do their transition plan, if you feel you need that after you've made a decision to hire someone, you can add it on for a fee. So it's not all bundled together. You don't have to eat the whole thing.
I kind of liked the one fee on the other hand, because I knew going into it upfront what our cost was, and that was it. I didn't love if we decide to do this, it's going to add on this much, or if we decide to do that, it's going to add on more. I kind of liked knowing the one.
Well,
upfront.
I can see that in some sense, but if you're paying $7,000 versus $14,000, and you're paying for things that you don't want or need, then why pay for it? And I also felt, their focus group with NESDEC, you pay an additional fee, but their base amount is so much less.
Well, but it's $9,200. It's not $7,000.
Well, that was including the administrative fee. So there was the way that they proposed it to us was $7,320 fixed consulting fee,
And then
the fixed expense was $1,960. And all of the firms actually broke out fixed expense. What's nice is we're a member of NASDAQ, so we get a 20% discount.
So because you added in all their add-on fees, you still community promoted.
Yeah.
And less than
I just had a question, because the transition fee wasn't included.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
neither
I
are
did not,
Without putting it to 10.5, without any focus groups. But, and the question is I remember from the CES saying that they would price match.
Yeah.
Where, because it's a package versus an a la carte, what do they price match?
well, that's one. I mean,
That, I guess.
truly, you're looking at CES came in at a price of $13,900. So if we say to them, hey, we've got a bid here for $9,280, are you going to match it? They'll probably say yes, but you've got to make that money up somewhere. That's what I would be concerned about.
Well, even if they price match the $10,895, which is the transition and the focus groups.
The focus group is included.
Only, do
So they're 20% after.
you have an additional $365 for a focus group?
Yes.
Yeah, so including the $365, it's $10,895. That's
No, that's for the one They call their focus group proposal the online and the stakeholder focus group.
So
It's all
that's
one
the
thing.
one.
It's all one.
Right.
I use it that way.
Well, it does say 365 per group, but
Jeffrey's right, not recommended.
No.
and neither is the brochure. If we, the other ones came with like the flyer type brochure.
Well, what's the 20%?
The 20% comes off of their standard fee. So their
No, the
standard fee
yeah.
was 9,150, but they're giving us a 20% discount. 1,140.
So actually, with the brochure, with the other ones,
I think that we,
presented,
I think,
it's-
yeah, but I think we would have to talk about that too. Because honestly, I don't know that printed materials are necessary. With everyone that I've spoken with, I like that they make that a la carte, that that's something that you can choose to buy or not. But with everything that's done electronically and that one mailing piece that they do, superintendents, I don't think that we want to spend money on having pretty brochures created.
I guess my concern with the a la carte part of it is the focus group. And going back to what May was saying about having somebody, having representation on the committee, because we haven't had a new superintendent in over 30 years, I mean, the town and people that are in school and taxpayers is very different than it was 30 years ago. You know, so I think that because this isn't something that most of us were allowed to participate in the last time, that it just is decision-making wise, I don't want to limit that focus. I want to make sure that we are asking teachers, staff, parents, community members, and making sure that, you know, what do we want for direction?
Oh, I
You know,
agree.
So I guess I just want to make sure that that's not limited in any way, shape, or form, because it's not our price of, okay, we're only doing two
No,
focus groups.
no,
and
the
we
only
can't-
reason that it's a la carte is because some systems choose not to go that way. So, you know, they said with their experiences in doing this, that some school districts choose to either do or not do their focus group. And what they found is that rather than bundling everything into one big package of stuff that, you know, it's like going to Disney and getting the dining room, right? You know, take it out and then choose to do it or
I
not
mean, I
do
think
it.
if we were a district that had a previous superintendent in the last
Yeah.
5 or 10 years,
No,
that
I-
we've kind of already done that.
Oh, we absolutely,
Basic work,
I think
I
we
think-
need to do the focus group and the online survey,
I
but I
think
don't think
still,
it makes a
If we
difference
do
if you
4
pay for
focus
it
groups, I
separate or
think we're
bundle.
still less.
Yeah, it is.
$1,500 is 4 focus groups.
What is, we have under CES, other stars,
Oh, they are our regional education service center. So like EastCon is our regional education service center in this area, and there are rest for their area, which I think is like Humboldt.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I didn't think MJ or.
Yeah, I tried reading that.
I kept going through the thing.
I know.
I know, right? It's the same thing.
People are
It's like enough already.
I like this thing. I think, I like what both of us. I like that you talked about commenting about their experience with them in the past.
I was on the group that hired the Woodstock Academy headmaster, and they use Nest Egg as well.
Yeah, I mean, I also like they're doing community with them and stuff like before.
I knew what you were. No, I wasn't impressed with the 50K because of some of the things that Joe mentioned. I hesitated for one of them. And I just felt that based on the other presentations or the other, pamphlets and the presentation, I was worried about the resources that they had to provide. This didn't sound as
Definitely
easy.
of the two.
Of the two, it just, the CES was, it just sounded like they were going to be able to provide a lot more support, and I was just worried that with the undertaking that we were considering that, and that, he was the best fit.
I think it's a little between CES and.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to? All right, could I have a motion that the Brooklyn Board of Ed engage NESDAQ for the executive search consulting services for a new superintendent of schools in Brooklyn? Okay. Any other further comments or discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. I'm waiting for the next. There, and we can start working on that. All right, so next we are going to review the mission statement.
This mission statement has a few things in it that Brooklyn School will foster a drive for learning. We want each student to reach his or her greatest potential. We want to do that by improving programs and services, meeting the needs of students, and also meeting the needs or meeting the community's expectations. And then for a quality education, so there's a lot of things packed in there. And I think that when you do have your new superintendent, you will really be looking at this to see, does this really tell everything that you want to be doing? And that's not something, you can do it now. I think it would be more beneficial to do it with a new person. And hopefully, if we get going on this, then we'll have a new person at least identified in the spring, and we'll be able to do that late spring and be ready for the following school year, which will be wonderful. So when I look at this, and next month I'm going to bring forward some of my goals, which I'll share certainly with Ms. Jenna before then, but of what I see as my goals between September 6th and June 30th, and also what through this mission that the Brooklyn School would be looking at. And the first would be reaching potential. And there is a question on our survey, our student survey, that I love. And the question is, am I challenged in my work? And I love it because the kids say, no. And without fail, it doesn't matter where you are, and because we don't push them enough. And so that will be, when I propose, that would be one of the goals, that would be one of the markers that we would look at certainly at the end of the school year, and to do that. Another is improving programs and services to meet needs. And so we're looking at that. If that is a goal of the board, then we should be looking at our programs. We should be evaluating our programs, not only the people running them, but our programs. And so we would start doing that. How are we servicing our students? In terms of, let's say, emotional need, we have 2 social workers that run back and forth constantly between the 2 buildings. And, is that the model? Is that meeting our students' needs? And that may be a discussion the board has before the year is out. But we also, are the programs such as our athletics program, our after-school program, our mathematics program, are those meeting the needs of our kids? How many kids of our kids are succeeding in Algebra 1 in high school? They've succeeded here. Are they also succeeding there? And or geometry and beyond. So those kinds of things, writing, how are our students doing in 8th grade writing? What are they doing in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade writing at our designated schools? And then the last would be quality education. So I'm going to propose next month 3 goals to the board for this year. Not all of them will be able to be measured by numbers, but what do we define as a quality education? And that would mean an up-to-date curriculum, instruction that is good. Not that our instruction isn't good at all, but we need to be ahead of the curve. We need to be learning new things. We can always learn as teachers more how to present curriculum in a better way. And then assessment, and we've got our STAR assessment, but what about our classroom assessments? How often are we doing that? Are we using them to form our instruction for the next day, to inform our instruction? So formative and summative assessments, and we need to look at that. So we'll be looking at that, but those are the three areas. And I just wondered if the board saw anything else in the mission statement, or is there another area that you'd like to have a goal at this point? But that's just what I'm thinking right now. And you passed this mission tonight. So it's the one that's been in the book for a while, but there were two in the book. So this is the more recent.
How long it took to do that one sentence?
I can't remember.
Yeah. I think those are all fantastic ideas. Sorry, Jeff.
I'm wondering, I'm a little surprised that there's no reference to an external focus evaluating our students, the jobs we do, the use of creativity in which they have to compete, in which we ought to be preparing them to function. You could say produce the best students in the state or something. I'm not really suggesting that we do that. It's pretty broad lack of external focus here. I'd like to suggest that might be one way to modify this.
I'm not proposing that you do that right now until you get a new person on board. I would concur certainly with Mr. Otto. As I read the mission, I think there are more things we can add. There's nothing, I'm thinking of Jeffersonian democracy, there's nothing in there about producing good citizens, global citizens, and how our students are doing out in the world. There's also nothing in there about involving or being partnering with the community and parents, and that may be something else that's put in there. That may be part of the how we do this is all of that part. Okay. I would agree. This is it's narrow. It's okay for now, and that's why I pulled 3 goals out of it and mushroomed them a little bit from the words up. Okay.
Any other comments on that right now? If I could,
Yeah, we can do that, right? I did check with Ms. Williams.
Okay.
She said she would be here till the end, but
Uh,
yeah, someone
Joan,
did.
Joan has one.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just wanted
Just,
to.
you can go to recess.
Okay, we're gonna just take a very quick recess so we can do our group photo, so we can dismiss Mrs. Moore. Do you want us to sit in?
I'm in by the book. Yes, I would. Sorry, I look like a really beautiful. Tired, just hot mess.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting.
You gotta do it now.
Well, you know what, it's,
Yeah.
well, let's see, let's see something. Because sometimes when we're sitting, and you're not as tall.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Kelly's gonna have to stand in the middle, because she's
Yeah,
gonna be.
Kelly, you stand in the middle.
I want you to go.
All right.
Could you, May and Joan to further on this?
No, Kelly, that's okay. You can. Should we do it? Ready?
Just so what I did.
Don't. You know, I have worse trouble with the adults than I do with the kids. Yeah, I think so.
I heard you learn more than I could learn from you. No, no. Okay, thank you.
She doesn't want any possibility of that. I said, I'll just send this to the adults and the kids, thank you.
Thank you very much. I know, failing in your part.
I don't
Okay, I'm making a note of this one now.
Right.
I know it's kind of boring, right?
Stress off on the airport.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we've reviewed. She gets her own.
My own page.
She gets her own day. All right, so we are going to, we can go back to the vision statement, we'll get goals
For November?
for November. All right, so finance. I love my numbers.
Here we go.
Okay,
All right,
bring it.
in your packet, you have your finance report for the month of September. Using the same format as we did last time, and we will keep it that way. I just want to point out a few things. In the, under the salaries category, the teacher salaries and the instructional aid salaries, I'm still waiting for approval on the grants for Title I and Title II. I did move some of that money in October over to the grants that I had set up. So there will be a reduction in the amount that you see, and as soon as we generate more salaries, I'll be moving the salaries over to the grants to spend that money down. The refuge removal under purchased property is the same amount as the last report, and it will continue to be that way. It's a slight increase in what they're charging overall. That wasn't budgeted for, we didn't have that increase, they increased it after the budget was put together. Communications, is, the same amount, again, universal service fund money will kick in to our, bills, and that will reduce that amount that's over there. The, tuition accounts, as I said in the last report, that is the excess cost. So as soon as we receive the excess cost, we'll be able to journalize that in and reduce those tuition accounts. So you will not see them in the negative. Next section, we're still working on the instructional supplies and the administrative supplies. We're looking at the open purchase order status. We're going through and making sure all the orders have been received.
That was what they were saying.
Yeah, so there are some purchase orders, I believe, there that need to be disencumbered. Because either we're not going to receive those supplies, they're back ordered. And what companies do is back order them forever, and sometimes you have to go to another company and get what you need. So I believe there'll be still adjustments to those two accounts there. The gasoline and diesel account, the $12,000 has been adjusted in the October report. You'll see that we took into account that represented gasoline. We disencumbered the amount from the purchase order to include the gasoline and diesel. So everything is on that purchase order. It was a zero balance in the October report. The other line item that is in negative is technology software. That is library software that
came in for the three, products that we purchased out of there, World Almanac for Kids Online, World Geography and Culture, and the Ed Helper. And they came in slightly higher than Compass budget. And we didn't have any control over that. Hopefully in the future, we'll get a better estimate from these, providers, and we'll try to budget that way. I think that sums up the report. I think, we're doing well. The month of September and, October, like I said, you'll see some of these changes moving forward. If you have any questions, I could perhaps answer them. Yes.
Just clarify the number of students and the tuition rate of the two high schools that sum up to almost $4.1 million.
The tuition rate at the two high schools.
And the number of students that we need to calculate.
Well, I have to pull the bills for that. I have to pull, you mean the invoices as far as what is,
No, the budget number. How many students?
oh, the budget number. Okay, yeah, I don't have that in front of me right now. You see that information, certainly. Not a problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions as far as finances? So we're looking on track at this point?
Yeah, we're continuing to monitor all the accounts, just make sure that we're, within reason. Certainly, the ones that are over, we'll make sure that we can have the money to cover them if need be. The grants are gonna be a huge help once I get those approved. Like I said, when we generate the salaries in the accounts, I will move that money over, spend the grant money first. That's what we're supposed to do.
Spend every month.
Where's the $112,000 for the search for the next fall? Because we didn't budget for that. No, we didn't.
That would usually come out of the line called, legal fees.
Not dues and fees or
Legal services?
professional
Legal
services.
Yeah, do we have a
Professional
legal
We do have a
services?
legal
Professional
services.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be in there. It could be under other professional services. Also, I mean, I've seen it there too. So it depends on where you want it placed. Either one is fine with me.
Any other questions on that?
And the other thing I have for you tonight, are check registers. The month of October. I don't know if any questions that you have about any of these, but these are the invoices that we have processed for the month of October.
Maybe check the chairs. Select.
If you have questions on individual checks, call the office.
Yeah, you can email me. I'll be happy to research and answer.
I think it's a wreck. I just noticed that we're having billing issues with them.
Nothing for,
Billing was high.
we just got it, we just got in it. For both the town and for the Board of Ed. It just came in the other day. As soon as the ECS money comes in, which is any day now, we are going to process the rest of the tuition that they just did.
Well, I just knew they had delayed the.
Yeah, they did. Yes. No, we are not. No, everything that came in has been.
Thank you for mentioning that. And I just had a question about the enrollment report that we voted. The 9, we have 9 less high school students this month than we did last month, or is that because they go down to the bottom side of the schools?
I would have to add the bottom up, but it's possible because a lot of students don't tell us where they're going.
Okay.
October 1 is the enrollment date.
Okay, so that's
So
when we
we
shut
have
out
some
the double.
This is the official.
Gotcha. And we added 7 elementary kids.
Yeah, they have 7 registered in like 2 days.
All of them start to third.
No, it's about third graders.
5 in the first grade. 5 in the first grade. One thing I wanted to note on the cross-country summary is that the girls and boys were doing really well, and I know that I had talked to Mr. Chenille. I had come in last week for the 3rd grade physical fitness testing, and to help time with the running that they had to do, and he had mentioned that Hayden Erland actually broke his old running record. And he was only a 5th grader, and it was just amazing that as a 5th grader that he was breaking some running records. So
He has the physical fitness record of the school,
yeah,
for
so,
either 3rd or 4th grade.
yeah. So it was just kind of a last year interesting thing that somebody so young on our cross country team was already doing so very well. So looking forward to lots of good.
I did a regional meet today and felt about each first. Very close match, very close.
Lots of good runners.
And as a side note, Hayden took over the record from Owen Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, by almost 30 seconds last year. Owen was the 4th grade leader, and last year Hayden took it over, and they're both running like madmen on cross country.
All right, so next we've got the discussion of food services, and I'm going to turn over to Dr. Conway so we can.
I just wanted to bring this up to you. Our food service director, Doris Markey, is retiring at the end of November. And whenever there's a transition like this, certainly the board should consider, and does not have to, but looking at food service. And so I would ask you if you want me to look into the possibility of having a Chartwell, Sodexo, Marriott, someone like that, and just so that you can say you've looked at it, or truly you may not be interested at all. I don't know what your feeling is, but this is an opportunity with Doris leaving to look at that. I'm not saying anything about the assistant or the people or the job that's being done by our cafeteria workers or anything, but sometimes it's a good thing to look outside our own walls and see what's out there.
I think it's good.
All right,
And I think Dr. Conway and I talked about, I think it's the perfect time to just be able to review it and,
I would like to do that. We can say we looked
Yeah.
into it and decided against it, but at least we looked at
in
it.
this idea, yeah. So I would like to have somebody make a motion that the Board of Ed direct the administration to initiate the exploration of utilizing an outside food service vendor for school nutrition services. Here, do I have a second? I'll second. Any further discussion or comment?
but I believe that the path was also this year, two concerns, father having to be over that, so I did talk to Shelley with the father as well. So I'm just considering interested in the communities.
Thank you.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved. All right. Were there any other items of business that anybody wanted to discuss?
Yes.
Oh.
Never ending
Oh.
staff.
New staff.
It's only 3,000. So, and these are not all the 3,000s, but it's a significant number of the 3,000s. We did it exactly the same as we did before. I read them all, went through them, added, subtracted, made those suggestions. And just so that you know, Mr. Bell and I are meeting on next week, to go through the 4,000. So she took a binder home with her this evening of all the CAVE policies, all of our policies, and the CAVE audit. And so we're going to go through the 4,000s together. And at the next meeting, you should have the 4,000s going through. So we're plowing through. But we still have
Guaranteed light reading for the next several months.
These are a lot of percentage.
That's good. We like that. Lead go. All right. So that's your reading for next month. Any other business that anybody needs to bring up? Oh.
I don't know, I heard a documentary retirement party, I didn't know what the latest was with that, and I heard someone talking about it.
Yeah, we have been meeting,
Okay. 47.
You said November 10th.
the Thursday evening. At 4:00.
Is there some tickets thing?
We sent out information, which we got. Some are looking for money, but I'm not that with you. And then we'll just, seem important that we just do it. So we can start in 2 minutes, that's all the time.
Do we, is there any kind of announcement that we?
Well, there
do
are
for that,
different
or-
people, but there's something going on.
Okay.
Something going on, but it's going to work on the side. We can talk to this. Grant, how, potentially, we have an article about maybe we're doing something, a story about anything, just so we have the one place. But here's to hear, contacting the superintendent's association. Winnie Radio, we got the Winnie Radio. But, again, we have, you may have to spend time getting ready. I have the gentleman's name, from the superintendent's name, it's going to Joe Sarasota.
Sarasota.
And I don't